Hello everyone. Good evening. How are you doing? Um, Unfortunately, I have muted you all so that you can hear me well. I'm just waiting for a couple of more participants. There are some technical issues for them to join, so I'm going to wait for a couple of more minutes. In the meanwhile, I think I can talk to you just to understand where you are, what are you doing. Okay, so let's pick one of you. Right. Nirali, can you hear me? I have unmuted you. Can you hear me? Just want to have a quick chat. You like to know about your interest on Python? You want to say something? What are you doing in the school? Okay, it's up to you. It's fine. My3, let me unmute. Hi, My3, how are you doing today?
Pardon?
How are you doing today?
Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. So which school you're going in and which class you're going on?
Chelmsford County High School for girls, and I'm year 10.
Year 10, okay. So what's your special interest with Python?
I quite like Python.
Okay, and
enjoy coding and not much. I just like the idea of Python.
okay, and is computer science is your favorite subject? Is it your optional subject in GCSE?
It's one of my options, yes.
Okay, good. And what is your career interest? What do you want to be?
I'm planning on going more to the mathematical and computational side.
Okay, good. So you want to be a data engineer, software engineer, IT consultant? Is that something that you are aiming for?
Around that area, yes.
All right, good. So in school, what are you learning in Python? I believe you have the syllabus only in year 8, right? Are you doing anything in year 10 as well?
Yes, we've learnt Booleans, we've learnt file handling and string handling, and we've learned the basic data types, for example, string, integer, for example.
All right, okay, cool, good. Are you learning apart from Python any other languages like Java? I'm sure you might have learned about HTML, JavaScript.
No.
Okay, good.
Not yet.
There are other programming languages as well, which is available. You can Google these tools that you can learn easily. So that also will help you. JavaScript is another script language, which also in high demand. You can do quite a lot. You can develop web applications. You can also use for data science if that's what your interests are. So yeah, okay, good to know. Thanks, My3.
Do you have any courses for any of those languages?
I do. So reach out to me. I'm not too sure. Are you in the group? So I left my contact details here on the screen, what I'm sharing. So reach out to me after this session and we'll talk more.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Have a great day. Let's wait for a couple of more minutes. Okay, Smart Trivedi. I'm not too sure. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Smart.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, good. How about yourself? What are you doing? Which school and which class you're going on?
I go to Cannington Solomon High School. I'm in year 10.
All right. Okay, good. So someone has got some issue. So let me help them. In the meanwhile, so I'm just sharing my screen. I have a small WhatsApp group to share the knowledge around Python on any computing languages. So that's what I'm sharing. If you have a smartphone, I'm sure you do have. So if you scan over the QR reader, you will be able to join with the group. So in the meanwhile, let me help some parents. So it's 7:05. Let's allow another few more minutes. Just pass some information for a parent who is struggling to log in. Okay. Okay, so smart. So walk me through about your interest with computing science. What are you doing in school?
We are doing GUI.
Sorry?
We're doing graphic user interface.
How is it? Oh, you're doing graphics. Okay. And do you have any programming project in your school? Are you building some projects?
Not yet.
All right. Okay, cool. That's very interesting. And what do you want to be in future for your career interest?
I'm only something with engineering and computing.
Okay, good. Okay, I wish you all the best. Let me have a quick chat with Bhuvan Bomu. Hi, Bhuvan. How are you doing?
Hi, yeah, I'm doing good.
So, how about you? Which school and which class you are on?
I'm in year 10 and I go King Edward Grammar School.
King Edward. Okay, good. So, what's your interest with computer science? What are you doing?
Oh, so I'm doing my GCSE in computer science. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you do any programming project? Or have you done any projects in your personal capacity, like developing games or mobile applications, something?
I've done like games on Python.
Wow, that's very interesting. And using any special library, Turtle or Pygames?
No, not really. Just like through Idle.
Idle. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Do you like it?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's easy, right? So learning Python is easy. And as well as with the help of Python, you would be able to understand normal programming construct, which will be a little difficult when you start with other languages. And it's basically a script-like language, so you can easily learn in no time.
Yeah.
Also, you learning about flowcharts and pseudocode in the school?
Not pseudocode, but a bit of flowcharts, yeah.
Data flowcharts. Yeah, okay. So flowcharts are really important because this is how we usually develop a program. So you will be given a problem, and then first you need to understand the problem, right? So the first step would be to develop a flowchart.
Yeah.
The problem, and then you break down, you think about the solution, and then use a loop or a conditional statements or selection statements or anything. With that, you build a flowchart. Once you got a flowchart, not sure which board exam you are following on. Some board exams, they're very keen to have the pseudocode. For example, Excel, they are very keen on using particular pseudocode. Pseudocode is like a simplified form of programming language, which is centric to any programming language. So the problem can be solved in many programming languages, right? Like Python, JavaScript, VB, Java, and anything else. Pseudocode is like very simple plain English. And once you have written a code in pseudocode, then later you can convert it to any programming language. So that's the idea about pseudocode. So believe everyone is in. So with that, we can start the class. So I'm going to put you on Meet. Okay, so purpose of the session, I want to create awareness, and mainly I aim for this session for year 9 and year 10 students, because this session is sort of advanced, and I'm going to concentrate only on the list. If you're not too sure what is list, is an array in Python. So I'm not going to walk through any basics or fundamentals about Python. If you are in year 7 or KS3, 7, 8, 9, or if you haven't had any exposure on Python, probably you may find a little bit tough to go through. That's not the intention. So if you are on lower classes, then probably reach out to me. Probably I will schedule another session, something like this for beginners, right? So let's start with that. So as you can see on the screen, I am Nat Sundar, talking. So I have a small WhatsApp group, and the link for joining the WhatsApp group is available as a QR code. I do share common materials, information freely on the WhatsApp group, which would be useful for your GCSE exams during preparation or learning and revision. Okay, so today we are going to concentrate about the list, and this is a WhatsApp group I have, and this is a QR code. I'm sure you might have already in the group, or if not, you can join now. Right, let's allow a minute or so for you to join if you are interested. If you're not too sure, QR with the, if you have a smartphone, if you take a photo of this, which will automatically convert into a QR code. With that, you can, that will come up with the URL. When you click join, you would be able to join the group. Okay, hopefully that is sufficient time. Okay, so let's move on. So let's understand what is a list. A list is a collection of ordered items. Why do we need list? So we have a normal variable, let's say a numeric variable, right? So age or height or a weight or something. So where we store a numerical value, mark or anything. So where we store a numerical value that can be used later on the program to do some calculation or processing. At the same time, we have got other data types as well: string, float, Boolean, and etc. etc. Now, let's think about a scenario that you are developing a game, something like a football or cricket, where there will be like minimum 20 plus players on the game. So let's say you need to collect the names of all the players and their height and their preference for food, etc. etc. Then how about with our normal variable? So would you like to define like 20 plus variables? That's very bad. How about another application where you are trying to develop, let's say for your class, you want to collect all your friends, classmates, details, name and their age and etc. etc. And you want to maintain a record. So if you have got 60 students in your class, are you going to create 60 variables? No, that's not right. So that's not ideal. So what we need, we want an ability to collect all this information and store it in a simple manner, in a single variable. That's what a list. So coming back, list is a collection of ordered items, right? If a list contains all numbers, all numerical values, then it's a numerical list. And a list can also have a string values. So a collection of all your student names in a class. So that's collection of all strings, right? That also we can have. In addition, you can also have a numerical value as well as string in a list. So that's what I said, as list is a collection of ordered items. Item can be, one item can be a numerical value, another item can be a string value, on and on, on and on, on and on, right? So if you still didn't get what this list is, I'm showing an image on my right-hand side that you are already familiar with. It's a hanging dryer, right? So what we use to tidy up the toys or to close or anything like. So what we do, the hanging dryer has got many compartments: compartment 1, compartment 2, compartment 3, and etc. So what we do, we pick some item and then we store it in compartment 1. We pick another item and we store it in compartment 2. We pick another item to tidy up let's say in pink color, and we store it in this compartment. Right, so we store like sort of 3 items in 3 different compartments. And whenever we need to get this item back, when we visit this hanging dryer, you know the item is in the second compartment or in the first compartment. So with that, you can take this out, right? So it's easy because we are tidying up. This is exactly the way the list works. What we do with the number or a string, we keep the first item in the first compartment. And we keep, let's say we are collecting student names, right? So student names Amy, and we place Amy in the first compartment, first item, and let's say Ryan, and then we place them. Ooh, that's not good. Yeah, there you go. So this is Amy, and this is Ryan, and this is, let's say, Polly. So these 3 names of the students have been kept in different compartments. And whenever we need, we can come back and we can extract the values. That's it. This is a list. Right. So with that simple definition, let's move on. So what is the advantage of having a list? You can define many, many values in a list, 100, 1,000, anything. So it's easy to tidy up. You have a single one variable, you can hold many values. That's list. Right. So let's have a look. How are we storing values? So let's say in my case, so let's say I've got 3 players, Amy and Ryan and Polly. Now, instead of defining 3 variables, I want to define a single variable called players, so that I can have 3 players today, I can have 10 players, I can have 20 players. Depends on the size of the game, right? So let's assume that I am storing Amy, the first compartment, Ryan in the second compartment, and Polly in the third compartment. So this is all that can be stored in a similar way as a hanging dryer. The way how Python works, when we manually say first compartment, but Python index starts from 0. This is a very, very key thing to remember. Python index doesn't start with 1, it always starts with 0. So Python recognizes on 0th item where it has got Amy. On first item, it has got Ryan. On second item, it has got Polly. So this is how Python record this information internally. This is very, very vital. You need to remember this. So please remember the item value always starts with 0. Yep. So now, when we store the information in a simple variable like a height or age or etc., you always refer the variable back, right? Print height, print age, print weight, etc. So that would print the values straight away. So in the case of list, how do we refer the list? So what we do, we use the name of the variable and then a square bracket and then the actual index. So if you want to extract Amy, you have to say 0. Yeah, so that's what the 0 is. And then closing square bracket. So this will get you Amy. Right. If you want to extract Ryan, same way, let's say players, that's the name of the variable and square bracket, and the index is 1, and then the closing square bracket. So this will return Ryan. And same way, which is for Polly as well, right? It's simple, right? Easy to understand. Okay, now let's do a simple exercise to follow it through. Take walk through with you. So for the purpose of this session, I'm going to use Trinket. I'll leave the decision with you. You can use Trinket or you can use Idle, you can use Thorny, whatever you're comfortable with, feel free to use it. So that's a simple definition of a list, a variable. Name of the variable is players, and I'm having 3 values, players name. So here as well, the definition, when you define a simple numerical variable, you say age equal to 10, height equal to 40, etc., etc. However, when you define a list, name of the variable as same as other variable equal, and then the definition also starts with a square bracket, open square bracket, and the definition will always end with closing square bracket. And in between, you give multiple values. Obviously, list is a collection of many items, so the way how it works, value 1 and comma, value 2, comma, value 3, comma, value 4, comma, and this is how we define the list, right? So here we have got a string list. So we have a collection of the player's name. So hence the name has been recognized within double quotes: Amy, Ryan, and Polly. Okay, so you can print the players and click run to execute, which is going to print the normal list. Right. So now coming back, I want to extract the first player name. Right. So let's work it out. Print. So remember, here I have explained the way to extract is players, open square bracket, and the index what you're looking for, and then the closing square bracket. So same way, let's try it out. First player's name, comma, players, and so this is the little thing with trinket, and this is for Tony as well. As soon as you start writing something which would automatically give a list of functions and methods available within Python, and also when you give open square bracket, which also gives a closing square bracket, etc. This doesn't work in idle. Most of the schools, they would prefer to use idle. Yeah, so you need to keep that in mind, especially when you give the examination. There is an opportunity for you to write and check all this. So you need to practice. If you choose Python to write or appear for the exam, some exam boards, they allow to write pseudocode as well. So choice is yours, which one you follow. Make sure you follow the appropriate syntax. Okay, so if I say 0, and that's what is helpful to extract the value of Amy. So here first player's name has been returned as Amy. If this is really confusing you, I can comment this out, and it's going to extract first player's name is Amy. Now, if I want to extract last player's name, how do I do that? Comma, and as same as the other example, players, open and close square brackets. And so what we understood so far, Amy is 0, Ryan is 1, Polly is 2. So obviously I need to give 2, right? And then click run. So this is how we extract values from the list. Now let me switch into the slide. I hope you can understand, you can work it out. Let's move on. Okay, so now by this way, based on this, you can extract one value at a time. So let's say my list has got like 40, 50 values, or like 60 values, or 100 players' name. And that is sort of literally pointless to go through each and every, like finding out 0, 1, 2, 3, on and on, right? And could be 1,000. So that's a bit of a pointless exercise to do, refer each and every item with the number. So what is the way how we can streamline our code to get all the values printed neatly, or whenever you want to access all the items in the list? So I'm sure you have already learned about loops in your KS3. So I will be making use of the for loop to extract individual item from the list. So this is a sample code. Let me get it right, and then I will walk through with you. So let me run and then I will explain how does it work. So here it is. Right. So should I give it in blue? Yeah. So as same as the previous exercise, name of the variable is players, and which has got 3 items, Amy, Ryan, and Polly. Now, what we want to do, and this is what is expected. I want to go through this complete list and I want to print each and every player name in the list. So first one is Amy, second one is Ryan, third one is Polly. Well, this list has got only 3 names, so it is printing only 3. If it has got like 100 items, this code will help us to print all 100 items. So that's the beauty with this solution. Let me explain how does it work. Right. So I'm sure you understand what a for loop is. It's a way to iteratively execute a code. Here, I'm using for loop. I want to iterate through on this list to pick up each and every item in the list, and I want to print. That's what the purpose of using for loop in this exercise. So what happens when I say for, and these are all syntax. So let me highlight. For is a syntax, in is a syntax, and that's it. This is a 2 syntax, and I'm sure you're already familiar with the purpose of using colon and indentation. So these are all important. I'm sure you've already learned. I'm not going to repeat that. So here, the player is a variable that I'm defining within the for loop and in players. So players is the name of the list what we have defined here. You see this players? Oops. Let me make it bigger, little bit, yes. So what happens basically, make it 2. So this will go to the list players, and then we're trying to extract the first value, which is Amy. So players has got all the values, Amy, Ryan, and Polly. So when it starts the first iteration, which will go to the list, and we'll pick the first item, which is Amy. The value of the first item will be assigned to the variable player, right? So, and then with the value Amy in the variable player, which will execute the body of the for loop. So here, the body of the for loop has got only one line, which is player name is, and then we are printing the name of the variable. So this variable, for the first iteration, it will have Amy. So that's what it's printing here, Amy. And once it's completed, so this is like iteration 1. Now, as you know, the for loop will go for the second iteration. This time, let me change it to red. So this time, this will move the cursor to Ryan. So value of Ryan will be assigned to the variable player, and this will be printing player name is Ryan. So this is iteration 2. Now it will go for one more iteration. This time it would be the last value, which is Polly. The value of Polly will be assigned to the variable player, and which will be printing player name is Polly. This is the value for the third iteration. I'll try to execute for one more time, and we'll say, look, end of the list, there is no values exist after this. And then the application will terminate here. So this is how the for loop works, especially when you want to iterate through on the items in the list, and you will be using for loop. In the pseudocode language, we call this as a for each loop. In Python, this has been implemented slightly in a different way, so you may not be able to appreciate and understand how does it work. And I have explained this to you. How does it work? Okay, so hopefully you have done this exercise. Let me continue with this. Let me move on. I will give you like 5-10 minutes for any questions at the end of this session. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so a list can also have a blank value. So none is a blank value. You can set none, and when you try to print, it will it's going to print only none. So let me go through this. And let's say instead of this, you can say none. None is a special word or it's a keyword. So when you try to print layers, it's going to simply say, you know what, just none. None represent, if you are familiar with Excel, is like not a value or there's no value at all. It's a blank. The beauty with the list, you can also use some operator like a multiplication operator or addition operators to work with the list. So for example, I can simply say multiply this by 5. So what does it mean? How do I multiply list by 5, right? List is a different data type, 5 is a number. How does it work? Yes, let's see. So what happens when you use multiplication or the operator, which will be worked out based on the contents. So here we have got a content which is none, and that would be multiplied by 5 times. If you have got a string, something like this, Amy, this is going to multiply by 5 times. And this is how it works. Yeah, so you should be in a position to understand how does a list work and what are the operators that can be used. Okay, so let's move on. Quickly. So there are, I don't know if you're using a smartphone, you may want to take a screenshot of this. It's just a consolidated information, how to work with the list. Usually this information will be available on many pages on a book. So I've just consolidated. I've given some sample as well so that you have got a clear, crisp information, everything accommodated in one page. And you can use this for your exam revision as well, whenever you need to. So I'm going to quickly walk through. I don't think I have got much more time to go through each and every function, but I'll pick one or two and I'll walk through with the help of this screenshot. You can do it on your free time. So let me pick one. First one is append. Append is useful to add item to the list. And the condition is when you're trying to add item, the item will be added at the very end. So that is append. Append is a method. So you need to use a list.append, and which will add an item. Remove, it works other way around, which will remove the item from the list. So only the first occurrence will be removed. Len is a method to calculate the number of items in the list. So in our current example, which has given like a 3 items, right? So some other list might have 10 items or 20 items. So those, if you need to work out the number of items in the list, then you can use len. And index. Index is trying to find the position of the item. You can supply the item, and which will trying to search through, and then will come back to you what is the actual position of the item if it did find. And there is another method called insert, which will help you to insert a particular value in the list. So as it is an insert, you can also highlight which position you want to insert. So what is the difference between append and insert? So append will add the item at the very end of the list, whereas insert will add the item wherever you want to, right? That is a benefit. So append is similar to the queue, right? Whenever you're waiting for queue in the bus, you can't jump in the queue. Obviously, you will be the last person to join, and then there is someone else behind you. This is how append works. Whereas insert is something like, like inserting book in the library. You don't keep it at the very end, right? You just open up, you insert. So this is how insert works. The function pop will help you to remove the item from the list. And usually when you give simple pop, which will remove the last item. This is exactly the other way around to the append. Append will add the item to the end of the queue. Pop will remove the item from the, remove the last item from the queue. Well, queue means I represent the list. And which will also return the value. So that's a beauty with pop. Pop has got one more feature. You can also supply the position. If you supply the position, the particular item will be removed and will be returned. So that's the advantage with pop. So you can correlate what is the difference between append and insert and what is the difference between remove and pop, and I'll leave it to you to work out. So just for the sake of, and let me pick up few append items. So let me call this a list. So this is a list, right? So I can print a list. Okay, so this is my list. So if I want to add an item, so what I do, a list dot append, let's say 55. So when you execute, nothing happens. Because why? The operation append has added the item at the very end of the list, but after this operation, we are not printing, right? So hence, it's not visible to us. If you want to see, then you need to print again. There we go. So let me comment this out. And if I run this again, here it is. So 55 has been added at the very end. Yeah, so that's the purpose of append. And what else? Let's work out len. So len will return the number of items in the list. So I'm going to say len. It's a function. So I need to pass the list. So if you run, let's say 7. So there are 7 items, like 3 plus 3 and 1. So there are 7 items. The len function will be very, very useful when you especially go through on a for loop or any iteration method. You can easily work it out. What is available, what is not available, etc. Okay, so the last one is a pop. The pop will help you to remove the item, the last item, and then will return the item. So that's beauty. Let's see how to use pop. Print a list dot pop. So what is the last item we have added? 55, right? I guess this is confusing you. So let me comment this out, the len. We don't need len. So this is when I added 55 and when I'm trying to print after that the append, then this is my list, right? So when I'm trying to use pop, what happened? The last item has been removed and the value has been returned. So this is the difference between remove and pop. Remove won't return the value, will simply remove the value. Whereas pop will remove the item from the list and will return the value. So how do we make sure it has actually removed the item from the list? Let's print the list again. Okay, so let me run this again. And here we go. So 55 has been removed. And when you try to print the list, there's no 55. Yep. Right, so let's move on. Right, so I have a simple exercise. So this is my exercise. I will allow you to give a try for a minute. If not, I will show you how to do it. So the exercise is, I want you to determine whether the number 100 is in the list, right? So I have given a list, say call it as a list or a B list. And I've got some set of numbers and I can see the 100 is there. But how do you work out programmatically the 100 is there? So that's my question. I will allow a minute for you to complete. If not, I will walk through. Okay, so I hope some of you tried. Let me walk through a simple method. Okay, so let's say this is my list, which is called list B. Now I'm just trying to print the list, which you know what will happen, which is going to print the list. And this is a very, very simple and easy method to find out a particular value is available. what you can do, if the value what you want to search for in is a special keyword which works in Python, which will trying to see whether the particular value is available within the list B. So what would happen? So this would take this value 100 and in list B. So that means we'll go and check, is it there? No. Is it there? No. Is it there? Yeah, it is there. If it is there, then it will, this condition will succeed, and then the print statement will execute. So list B dot index of 100 will go and search, and then we'll give the index, which is 0, 1, and 2. Right, so let me run this. Yeah, 2. That's what we are expecting. Okay, so before we finish the class, just one more exercise. I will give you 1 more minute, and then we are done, and then I can take questions from you for like 5 minutes or something, and then we are done. Right, so the purpose of the exercise, I have a list. Now I want you to print each and every value in a separate line. Okay, so I hope you tried. I have already explained an easy way to do it. Is this. So that's my list, and I can make use of the for each loop. Remember, I have explained in this session, for variable, here I have declared as a number in the list B. So here I can print the value. So what it would do, so which will go and evaluate from the list B, get the first item 56. 56 will be assigned variable number, and then when I execute, 56 will be printed. And then we'll go to the second item, 75 will be assigned to the number, and then 75 will be printed. In the same way, 100, 45, and 88, and 71, and everything will be individually printed. Right? So that's just the exercise. Okay, so with that, we are done with this session. I'm going to unmute some of you if you want to ask me any questions, anything related with Python or exam perspective or revisions or anything. So let me unmute some of you to ask any question. Let's go with this order. Bhuvan, do you have anything else you want to ask me?
Oh no, I'm fine. You cleared up everything.
All right, great. Yeah. Thanks for participating, Bhuvan. Nirali, I'm going to unmute you. If you want to ask any questions, you can ask me now.
Yeah, hi. Actually, my daughter is listening, and I think she might have some questions.
Yeah, sure. Go on.
Yeah. Do you recommend any exam materials?
It depends which year you are in.
Year 9.
Year 9. There are materials available. Don't know which school, which school you are participating and which exam you are following. So based on
OCR.
Sorry.
OCR.
Okay. OCR. Yeah, I can see there is a challenge. You don't have a past exam paper. Usually, what I do for my students, I tend to collect other board exam papers, and I do have a past exam papers which I tend to circulate. Also, if you do use the textbooks and revision books, that would be helpful as well.
Okay.
The most challenging thing what I find out with my students is the application. So the one which I explained is very straightforward, right? So this is what I can easily learn. The thing is when you're trying to apply this to a problem, like in OCR component 2, right? So that's where the challenge is. So that you will come across only by doing more and more practice.
Okay.
So for example, the one of the exam paper, what would I come across? A simple example has been given, like an insurance company want to set up insurance for a car insurance and customer calls, and how do you write a simple Python program for this? So something similar you need to think through and you need to apply. So the component 2 is one of the challenging area. You can easily acquire more marks in component 2 by having more practice, more lessons, trying to practice, give a try on other board exam papers and see how does it look like, etc.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Nirali. Maitri,
Hello.
hi, yeah. Any questions from your side?
Yeah, I do have 2 questions.
Go on.
I found it particularly fascinating learning about the multiplying feature of lists, but I wanted to know how useful it can be in what areas of programming.
It is very, very helpful in A levels, and sometimes in the gamings you'll use that as well. If you want to multiply a product, let's say you are developing a games application in Python, you've got one image, like one bird is flying, and if you want to use the same bird in multiple places to showcase the many birds are flying. So in that case, you can easily multiply and then you can use that instance everywhere. It's a bit advanced for our level, but sometimes you could come across that area. It's just good to know the future.
Okay, thank you. And my second question is, if you want to study further in Python or go into it in more detail, are there any books or websites you recommend?
Okay, it depends on which level you are in. If you're only in GCSE, probably on A levels, if you follow similar OCR or EdExcel, that is the next level, which will be focusing on object-oriented programming. So that's what probably you can concentrate on. Which will be helpful for you to develop an application-focused development. So that's one area, and especially if you're interested on learning data science, there are many libraries available. I can share the books, what I would recommend on the WhatsApp group for data science if you're interested in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no worries. Madi, Kalai Madi. Hi Madi, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I don't have any questions.
Okay, good. Did you enjoy the session? Good.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Mitra. Hi Mitra, anything else you want to ask me? Okay, sounds like you have learned everything today. Good. And Smart.
No, I have questions.
Okay, you're good. Okay, so thanks for participating. Really enjoyed the time with you. I hope this session is useful. I look forward you to see in the next session. And I've left my contact details here in case if you have got any other questions, you can ping me on the WhatsApp group or you can connect with me. You have my email ID here. Ask me any questions at any time. I can't guarantee I'm going to respond immediately, but at least within a recent period, I'm trying to come back to you. Okay, so enjoy your evening and enjoy your weekend. See you in the next session. Okay, care.